I've had a lot of questions about canning. I used to be a big avid canner when we lived in California. I've been really busy since we've been here in New York and I haven't canned that much. However, this year I plan to get back into it a little bit more. This is one of the cookbooks that I use. It's from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Home Canning and Preserving. They're always coming out with new editions. This Amish canning cookbook I got at Layman's in Ohio. It is written by a certified master food preserver. However, there was some recipes in here that I kind of questioned. For example, the pie fillings particularly. The recipe called for either clear gel or cornstarch. And we all know that cornstarch is a no-no for canning. So take that with a grain of salt. I love this small batch preserving book because it gives you an opportunity to try out a new recipe that maybe you haven't canned before to see if your family likes it before you make a big commitment to either growing a bunch of, something in your garden or purchasing a large quantity of food to preserve, and then, you do all that work and you find out you don't really like it. So this one has quite a number of recipes that I really, really like. Of course, there's the ball canning books. I have a lot of ball canning books that I've collected over the years. And this is one of the, let's see, what year was this one written? I can't even remember. Let's see. What year was this? 2016. So typically you want to use a book that's 10 years, unless it's just a real sound recipe, don't worry about it. This book is probably from like 2006 or 2007. Let me look. This is another ball book. Yeah, 2006. And I am going to be using this cookbook today. You can tell how much I've canned out of it. It's just, oh my gosh. Lots of wonderful recipes in here. I'm going to be using one that's really simple, straightforward, no muss, no fuss. And that is, I'm going to be canning some whole berry cranberry sauce. It's a really super easy recipe. I chose this one to share with you guys today so you could see how easy it is to water bath can. You don't really need a lot of specialty equipment, just a big stock pot to water bath can. And so that's why I picked this one to share with you. I'll probably later on, as I can through the year, share more pressure canning type recipes, but that's the one I'm going to do today. A couple more resources you have is you can look on your computer, the Complete Guide to Home Canning. It's a PDF format, so you can download it. It's about 200 pages. That's a free resource for you. Another resource that I learned from Lilu here on YouTube, she's a master canner, is you can Google whatever you're canning. So like today we're doing cranberries, so you put whatever you're looking for the recipe for. Today we're doing cranberries. You put the +, canning, +, and extension, and it brings up all the university extension recipes for cranberries. So let me show you what that looks like. So in my search engine, I have cranberries, +, canning, +, extension. Let's see what we come up with. Look at that. You have extension programs from all over. Penn State, University of Maine. It just goes on and on. National Center for Home Food Preservation. There's Utah Extension. It just goes on and on and on. And a lot of these have also recipes in how to use your canned goods, your like in this case, cranberry sauce. They'll have all kinds of recipes like to use in muffins and all kinds of different things. This is a really handy bit of information that Lilu shared and taught me. I've used it many times. That's a really, really good tip. You could also just go to the library and check out some canning books and read up on it, see if it's something you want to do. Okay, so let's get started. This is a real simple recipe. It takes 8 cups of fresh cranberries. I had 3 12-ounce bags, and that's pretty much 8 cups. 4 cups of sugar and 4 cups of water. That's it. We're going to get these all into a pot. I've already washed the cranberries. We're just going to go step by step. I'm going to pretend like you've never done any canning before. Number 1, prepare canner, jars, and lids. It gives you a reference page 415. When we go over to page 415, it'll give you the whole process, step by step, how to do water bath canning. All right, number 1, clean the jars and closures, the rings they're referring to. Wash them in warm soapy water. Make sure you give them a good rinse. Done. I've already washed these 8-ounce jars. Number 2, heat the jars. If you don't have a water bath canner per se, you can use a big stock pot. You just want to make sure that you put like a trivet in the bottom so that the jars don't sit on the bottom of the pot directly. If you don't have a trivet or something like that, you could put together the rings to form a trivet. I've done that many a times. It's no big deal. All right. And basically you just want to put water in your pot, go ahead and put your trivet in there, put your jars in there, bring the water up to a simmer, and that's it. I told you it wasn't hard. Okay, so let's go back to our recipe. Page 180, I believe. Okay, so we got our canner ready, we've got our jars ready. Looking good. Number 2, in a stainless steel pot, combine the sugar and water, bring to a boil over high heat, stirring to dissolve the sugar, boil hard for 5 minutes. I've already done that. Next, add the cranberries and return mixture to a boil. Reduce heat and boil gently, stirring occasionally until all the berries burst and liquid begins to sheet from a spoon. It takes about 15 minutes. That's where I'm at now. I just added the cranberries. Now that I've added the cranberries, I will start timing for 15 minutes and stir occasionally. The cranberries have cooked for the 15 minutes, and this is what they look like. Beautiful. Step number 3, ladle hot sauce in hot jars, leaving 1/4 inch headspace. That just means from the top of the jar. Remove any air bubbles, adjust the headspace if necessary by adding, more sauce or not. Wipe the rim, center the lid. I always wipe my rim with vinegar in a paper towel. Screw band on, finger tight. All right, let's get this done. I have my first jar. I took it just out of the canner. It's nice and hot. Now, normally I use a canning funnel, but this is too big for these little jelly jars. So I'll just have to try my best not to make a mess. Take the cranberry sauce and start filling up the jars. The recipe says to fill within 1/4 inch of the top of the jar. That's called headspace. I told you guys this was so simple. A little more. Perfect. Now we want to debubble. Just make sure there's no bubbles hiding in the cranberries. Looks good. Now in this bowl I have some white vinegar. I'm just going to dampen a paper towel, and I want to make sure that I wipe the rim clean. You don't want any of that on there. So make sure you wipe your rim clean because you'll get a good seal this way. All right. Then take a lid. I always soak mine. I'm old school. Put a lid on. Take the ring, put it on the jar, and just go finger tight. You don't want to do it too tight. Now we'll get this back right into the canner. Do the next jar. So I'm bringing the next jar out of the canner, and we'll just repeat the same process until we get all of the jars full. You know, it's a wonderful way to preserve cranberries. Our family, you know, we can't really eat a whole bag of cranberries at one sitting, but these little 8-ounce jars are really a perfect size for our family. Okay, that's about a 1/4 inch headspace. I'm going to go ahead and make sure we don't have any air bubbles. We'll debubble. Take a paper towel, dunk it in the vinegar, clean the rim. Make sure you clean it very thoroughly so you can get a really good seal. Okay, put our lid on, put the ring finger tight, and into the canner it goes. And I'm just going to repeat this process until we get all of the cranberry in jars. So I got 8 half-pint jars and 4 of the little small jelly jars. A couple little tips: if you're not running a full canner, you can put some empty canning jars in there, and also take that little bowl of vinegar and just put it in your water, and that'll prevent any hard water issues. All right, we're going to bring this to a full boil. Okay, number 4, place jars in canner, ensuring they are completely covered with water. Bring to a full boil, process for 15 minutes. Remove canner lid, wait 5 minutes, then remove jars, cool, and store. My altitude here in Cooperstown's 1,200 and something feet, so I need to adjust the canning time by adding 5 minutes. So 15 minutes plus 5, that's 20 minutes. So after the canner comes to a full boil, I'll process for 20 minutes. We are at a full boil. I'm going to replace the top and we'll start counting for 20 minutes. 20 minutes later, I turned off the heat, took the top off. I'm going to set the timer for another 5 minutes, and then we'll get these removed from the pot. 5 minutes is up. When you take your jars out of the canner, don't tip them. You have a tendency, you want to get that water off. Don't do it. Don't do it. And then just set them on either a towel. This is one of those drying cloths, and just let them set. The water on top is going to evaporate. Don't even worry about it. The jars sat for 24 hours, so it's the next day, and I'm just going to take off the rings. And I just want to wash the outside of the jar. I'm checking to make sure that the seal is sealed. I'm also going to wash my rings. The rings you can use over and over again. The lids are a one-time use. So I'm gonna just get all the jars washed, and then we're gonna label them and put them on our pantry shelf. All now that we've washed the jars and dried them, they're good to go. They're ready to go on the pantry shelf. One thing I will say is it's a good idea to go ahead and label them. Cranberry sauce 1231. Because it's kind of like if you've ever put taco meat in a Ziploc bag and you put it in the freezer and you think that you're going to remember what it is. And then a month later you come across it and you're like, what the heck is it? Because it kind of all looks the same, right? So get in the habit of definitely labeling your jars. And this is going to be enough cranberry sauce for our family for the whole year. I use the half-pint jars to serve as a side when I make things like a roasted turkey or a roasted chicken or a roasted Cornish game hen, those kind of things. One jar seems to be the perfect size for our family, but I do like to do a few of these little small jelly jars in case I just roast a turkey breast and we do sandwiches. It's kind of nice to be able to put some cranberry sauce on this. But you can use the cranberry sauce in a whole multitude of recipes. You can use it when you bake muffins. There's even a recipe that has like cream cheese and you put this on it and you kind of use it as a dip. There's just so many ways to use it. But this will be enough cranberry sauce for us for the whole year. I really like that we took 3 of the 12-ounce packages and we portioned it out for the whole year. And I think it's just beautiful. Look at the color. Isn't that gorgeous? And there's nothing like homemade cranberry sauce. It tastes so much better than the store-bought. All right, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I wanted to demystify canning if you've never done it before. And I hope that maybe you consider giving it a try. All right. You guys have a happy new year. I'm so thankful. 2020 is almost in the books. We're looking forward to a new year. And I just want to reiterate, when you put this on your pantry shelf, you do not store the rings on it. You leave the rings off. The rings you can use over and over and over again, as long as they don't get rusty. The lids are a one-time use. All right, there we go. See you guys in 2021.